I feel that this subject really required a complete compendium, a one-point reference, which I tried to create in this book. It is supposed to bridge a gap between the legal field and the technical field. How both can be aligned together, and how a common man or a lawyer or an engineer can understand what is cyberspace law. I've tried to give it a glossary of meanings of cyber terms and legal terms, so that they understand what connotations they have when I'm referring to something in the chapters. So it's easy for them to understand. The book is unique in the sense that it not only talks about Indian law, it's about Indian law, it's about the IT Act and the amendments, the rules framed thereunder. It's not just about Indian law, it compares UK law, US law, and various parts of European law. Wherever it is possible, I've tried to give a comparative to that. And not only that, as I said, it bridges the gap between the legal and the technical field. Also, I have tried to project from my practical experience the lacunas which I feel there are in the Indian law, and with the interactions with law enforcement and actually handling cybercrime cases with the police, I've come to realize that there are a lot of things which we need to do to strengthen the system in India as a whole. So those suggestions which were at the back of my mind or in my mind, I wanted to put in pen and paper. So those have been brought in print now. And that's, I feel they could contribute in the long run to the growth of IT law in India. At least my endeavor is so. I will just hope that it does.
So what could be the best practices to bring this advancement in the rule of law and extend it further and educate people?
There are a few best practices which I have, the most important ones, put in the book. And this book also talks about what people in general need to do, not just children, but in general, if they want to safeguard any information online. For example, credit cards. A lot of people use credit cards to shop online. Now, when they're shopping, they don't realize that they are using a secure website or not. And often there are mirror websites which are just phishing websites. By phishing, I mean they're fake websites. They don't have a genuine entity behind it. And the only aim is to have a financial crime committed. So what happens is that they would, for example, show any bank's website, but it is not, for example, if it's a citibank.co.in, they will show something like CITE bank, but somebody would just miss it and go and log in their net password and details, and the next morning they see their money is gone away. It's all phishing. That's something which people don't understand. They're using net banking often, but there are some best practices which they have to be aware of. This is one of them.
The book not just talks about the legal aspect, but does talk about some more awareness points for the common man as well.
Yes, because my role would not finish if I just mentioned what the law is, what law should be. It really extends beyond it. This book is not just meant for lawyers as a reference manual or for investigators to see how to investigate and what kind of things have to be kept in mind. This book goes much beyond. It speaks to a common man or a reader or a student or a child and tries to tell them in simple words what they should be doing on the internet, and whether if they buy something, for example, it becomes an online contract. It explains the simple principles of offer, acceptance, consideration, which leads to an e-contract. What is a shrink wrap? What is a browse wrap contract? These are certain terms which are new, but if you go to the roots of it, it is actually a simple contract as you form it in legal parlance. So these are certain things which a child or anybody who reads would understand, and the kind of crimes which are there, educate themselves on the kind of crimes, and then best practices on how they should be avoiding it. Change your password to offer and have alphanumeric passwords. If you're going to view a website, first look at the terms and conditions. If you don't abide by it, don't get into the website and do any transaction. And see what kind of information it is taking from you. If it is taking any personal sensitive information which you're not ready to give, don't give. And if they do give particular information, they should know where exactly this information is going to be used, how it is going to be used, is it going to be circulated to third parties, where are your rights, how much are you giving away, for example. So this is something which the book talks about in a very simple way. I'm sure the readers would appreciate the basic effort which has gone behind it. The idea is just to explain the basic tips in very simple language.
We understand that the internet penetration is definitely increasing day by day, and the usage is definitely going to be a future. And so, what do you think is the road ahead for cyber law and cybercrime?
I think,
and if you can talk about the new trends, how the trends that are shaping the future of this industry and this particular area of law.
there are many issues which are emerging today. They're still not settled. We don't have, for instance, a clear law on employee surveillance, workplace surveillance, which I think in US and UK, as well, also talks about, is very clear. Liability of intermediaries, it's a very important subject. Censorship, how much censorship should be there, how much filtering is allowed, how much due diligence is required. These are certain issues which are still at a nascent stage in India, which we are debating on. Also, new issues like WikiLeaks. It throws up many kinds of issues. UID, use of the UID card, the biometrics. Then there is a lot of hue and cry on what kind of defamatory matter is permissible, or what kind of defamatory matter is not permissible. Defamatory matter per se is not permissible. It's not permissible as well. So, but what kind of content one can put under freedom of speech? Where are the limits? This is something which one needs to debate and discuss, and then frame a clear law on. We have the law in this country, but we are still to apply it with the help of case law, and see the real life situations, and apply the conventional law principles, the constitutional principles on this internet field, and see how this law will shape in this country. So there are a lot of emerging issues. I have discussed blogging, I have discussed censorship, and many other issues, such issues in this book. And I hope issues like ODR, for instance, the online dispute resolution, which talks about offline, online mediation, which talks about out-of-court settlement. This will also help create, a leeway or some way in which the backlog of cases that we have, cumulative backlog of cases, could be reduced. So this is a new concept where disputes could be resolved online rather than by use of court machinery.
Yes, so you think technology is definitely going to play a vital role?
Yes, absolutely. I have no doubts on that. In fact, I'm very positive that a lot of our laws, this field as a cyber law is not just a specialized field separate from the other fields of law. It is actually an amalgamation of a lot of other fields. If you see contract law, if you see foreign exchange, if you see anything on constitutional law, then you see IPR, intellectual property law. There is a whole gamut of laws which is linked to it. So it's not something which will grow on its own exclusively, but holistically the whole country's law will shape up.
And I would love you to send or put in a message for our young leaders, the upcoming lawyers. Do they look forward to a stronger vehicle in this particular field? So what would you like to say to them?
Well, I think as young lawyers, there is a lot to do in this field. There is plenty of scope for each one of them, and how they would like to contribute, they just need to perform to the best of their ability. Many times the younger generation, especially today, wants things quick, but there is really no gain without pain. That's really what I as a person have evolved with time. And like me, I'm sure other lawyers who have contributed in some way their own contributions they've made will also realize that really Rome was not built in a day, and actually law practice is all about hard work. So if one has puts in the hard work that is required and tries to do away with all the, I would say, not so good factors, which would be like lack of concentration and other things which would really inhibit somebody from outshining or coming in showing oneself in a complete potential the way one can harness is something which one needs to be very careful on and evolve oneself and perform one's best. That's all.
Your contributions towards cyber law and the area of this particular area of law has been actually recognized by the Chief Justice of India on the Law Day. So my heartiest congratulations to you and thank you so much.